guys, and welcome to another episode of Convention Confessional. My name is Katy Hunt, and I'm here to guide you through the good, the bad, and the ugly of the convention world, and sometimes I do it with a little help with my friends, and by sometimes I mean almost all the time, because being left to my own devices is a bad idea for everybody. And thankfully, there's a full adult here today. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Katy.
How are
So am
you?
I the good? I'm good. Am I the good, the bad, or the ugly of the convention world?
You're good. You're totally good. Like, if there was a D&D world of the convention world, you would definitely be my neutral good.
Neutral good. Okay.
I'm chaotic.
I'll take it.
I don't know if it's chaotic neutral or good. I don't know yet, but it's definitely chaotic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing well. I recovered from COVID a couple months ago, so you've got a lot of good stuff to look forward to.
I recovered from last week. No, I haven't. I say that, but I haven't. I don't sound as sexy as I did last week with the COVID voice. I mean, I'm sorry that you missed out on that.
Oh, I heard it. But, but you know, I lost my sense of smell for about a week after that, and it was just weird. But came back, and now I've got immunity for 3 months, and so
yeah, it's funny. I can smell things, and at the time, I lost my taste completely for like 2 days in the midst of it, and now I can't taste anything sweet.
Oh,
like that's it. Like the other day, I was at the soda machine at my work, like, sampling. Like, can I taste this? No. Can I taste this? No. Can I taste this? No. And like soda to me now is like bubbles with like a small tinge of a flavoring. It's very odd. It's kind of like when you get like church punch and they've completely watered it down.
You know what you should try is hot wings.
Will
the pain be there without the taste?
That would be exciting.
It's a little science experiment.
No, it sounds painful. That sounds like that would be the thing that comes back. It's like, ha ha! Oh, goodness. Well, Patrick, we both know what this is. We both know that this was last minute. We both know that we're winging it today.
Well, I knew I'd be on again sometime, and I planned to wing it, because the last 2 times I came on, came on with the story of one of the worst conventions I've ever attended.
Oh, my God.
The Wine Country Comic Con. That was episode 6.
Yep.
Oh, that was so terrible. And Vic Mignogna was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time I went on, I talked about dead people.
Oh my God, that was the best episode.
Yeah, we killed the second Doctor.
We sure did. And people with Legionnaire's disease.
Yes. The Legionnaire's convention. Oh my God.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, so there's a lot of dead people from that episode. And so this time I figured, okay, maybe I can avoid talking about, dead people.
Dead people?
Yeah.
It's almost Halloween again.
Yeah. Well, you could get somebody from horror conventions for that, but
I know. That's definitely hopefully my plans for October.
Yeah.
But what about today? What do we talk about today?
Well, I was thinking, like, when we did the 20 questions, we were talking about, I think it might have been after the episode, we were like, how did we all meet?
Oh, boy.
And, I was chair of Anime Boston. I was vice chair in 2003 and 2004, the first 2 years. And then I was chairman in 2005 and 6. And so being in that position, everybody on staff knew who I was. And a lot of people at the convention knew who I was. I couldn't keep track of anybody.
Right.
Like, I knew the other people in certain positions of staff, and I knew some of the attendees, but there were people that would come up to me, hey, Patrick, how you doing? And or they'd run into them, at the grocery store or something. I'm like, hey, it's good to see you. And I'm like, I have no idea who this is. They must know me from Anime Boston. And especially if I had a staff shirt on. And so I met a lot of people, but don't remember meeting them because I met so many people.
Right.
So I'm not sure if I remember when we met. When did we meet? You do?
I do remember meeting. Yes, I do remember meeting you. I officially met you because here's the thing: it's like you had met Robin like a while because I'd known Rob since. Well, I mean, if you listen to the podcast, Rob and I kind of became friends in 2005.
I remember meeting him in 2004.
Right after an awkward table conversation, but Rob and I became friends like around 2006, I would say officially, like where we actually like walked around, talked to each other for 5 minutes kind of thing. And he had mentioned you like to me, but I had not met you officially yet in
Uh-huh.
2006. But we were like, he's like, oh yeah, Patrick, and la la la, and I was like, oh, and he's like, yeah, he's again, you were the chairman, right? At that
Yeah.
point, 2006, yeah.
2006. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that sounds important, you know. Sounds like a big deal. Um, but I officially met you when you were in your Digimon costume.
Oh, where was
Mhm.
that? Oh, I mean, I wore it so many places that really doesn't.
It was at Boston. I met you at Boston in it.
Oh, uh, well, that couldn't be because
Or not Boston.
I didn't wear that at Amy Boston until
PortCon?
much later. Might have been
PortCon?
PortCon.
It was
Yeah,
PortCon then. I met you at PortCon.
when it was at the Mary Manor.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I did wear it there at least once.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's how we first met. But here's the thing, I
I,
never saw your face. Like
and
I didn't get to meet you face to face until probably 4 years later.
oh wow.
I
No,
know.
no, it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much longer because 2007. I thought the first time I met you was at was it New York Comic Con?
Mm-mm. No. Oh no, you're right.
We
Because
took the train.
2008 we went to Comic Con,
It
so it was
was
like 2 years.
2007.
Was it 7?
I forget it was because they had New York Comic Con and New York Anime Fest, and one was in the spring, one was in the fall, and one of them I took the train down.
Yeah, with me.
And that's a story, but
Right. Yeah. We can tell that story if you want to. No,
yeah.
but I definitely like I talked to you online, but I think that's the first time we actually saw you like in person, like not in a huge Digimon costume.
Mm,
Hmm. But we sat on a train next to each other for 4 hours and talked.
yeah, and so I remember I had because we were doing the DramaCon cosplay group,
Yes, we
and we
were.
were all going down to see Svetlana
Uh
at
huh.
New York. Was it New York Comic Con? I have to
It was
look
New
this
York
up now.
Comic Con. Yeah, it was the fall.
Or was it the spring one? But
Nope,
anyway,
it was
doesn't.
definitely the fall. I remember it being the fall because it was freezing out, and I was in
Oh,
a
right.
skirt.
Yes.
Yes.
And so for some reason, I knew, okay, the train's at this time, and it takes, would take me 10, 15 minutes to get to the train station by car. So I don't know why I didn't actually plan in more time. Like, I think I planned it like, okay, the train leaves at this time. That means I have to leave exactly 10, 15 minutes ahead of time. It's like, no, that's probably not a good idea. But it didn't occur to me until the cab arrives. And I'm like, oh my God, the train leaves in like 15 minutes. Uh, get me there as fast as you can. And he got me there. And I forget I forget what the charge was, or I gave him a big tip
Mm.
and ran to the train platform and got on the train just before it started moving. And I remember you and Kathy were looking at me like, "Oh my God, we didn't think you were coming."
Yeah, we were like, maybe you meant like a different train. I don't know if he's gonna make it. And then like you were just there. We're like, oh hi.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah. And then you were in your Matt costume, and oh my god, what was the girlfriend's name? And it makes me so upset. I don't remember right now.
Sandra.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And
That
Kathy.
was
Oh,
New York Comic Con. It was this February 2007. I'm looking
okay.
at pictures right now.
Okay, so it was 2007. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. It was
I have a
crazy.
picture of you on the train.
Oh my god, I must look amazing because here's the thing. Before
You're a
we
little
saw you,
baby.
I was a baby. So like right before we like seen you, I had gone to Kathy's house the night before um to stay overnight with Kathy so it would be easier for us to just go travel into Boston together.
Right.
And she decided that she wasn't done with her costume, so I stayed up with her all night. So at that point, I had been up probably about 20 hours
Mm-hmm.
at least. And then we had the whole day in New York before we even got back to the hotel room. I was up for like a total of probably 36 hours that day. So when you saw me, I was like, I've just been up for like almost 24 hours. What's up?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. You know, back in the day when you're like in your very, very like early 20s and you're like, I'm invincible. I don't need sleep. That's not true.
And you guys were staying at the New York hotel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We all
yeah,
stayed in the
because
same hotel
it was
too.
like the official con hotel at the time. And
Yep.
so I was in a room with I think Svet and Dee, and I had a like a rollaway bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you guys saw the room at one point.
You mean the closet?
Yeah, the smallest hotel room I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I only mention this because I checked out and they were staying a few extra days to meet with publishers.
Mm-hmm.
And they got transferred to a new room, which was like 3 times the size. And it was one less person. Like, what?
Yeah, because the publishers were paying for it.
No, it was like the same rate, but because this is, the New Yorker and all the hotels are really quirky, all
Yeah.
the rooms are just oddly shaped. Cause,
Yeah, like I think the bedroom I'm in right now is the same size as the room that we had when we were staying at the New Yorker. Like legit the same size. Oh god. But yeah, I mean that was that your first official meeting with Svet?
no, I met her in 2004 at Bakuretsu-con. So she
Okay.
hadn't published DramaCon yet.
Mm-hmm.
She had her own independent comics, Chasing Rainbows and Night
Mm-hmm.
Silver. And so I
Mm-hmm.
bought copies of those and she signed it and started following her on LiveJournal after that. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, but don't let him fool you because he definitely had a crush on her when I met her with him.
maybe.
We
Yes.
totally did. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was fun. And I remember too, because then like after day one, because she was all excited because we were dressed up, I remember. And
Yeah.
then we all went out to dinner together.
That's right.
We went out to
Yeah.
that diner in New York at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Yep. And she had meatloaf. And she was really excited about it.
Really? I don't remember that, but
She totally had
that's fun.
meatloaf.
She loves meatloaf. Yeah.
Yeah, she was. She was just like, meatloaf? We're like, yeah. Yeah,
You're going to
meatloaf.
have to talk to her about that on her episode, though,
Right. Yeah, I
which
know.
it will be coming. She's going to be on here.
Very excited. I'm so excited. But yeah, no, that was fun. That was a good time.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was our first time we hung out.
it was. Yeah, and we had a good time. Yeah.
We did have a good time. Yeah,
I mean, group cosplay is always fun. And
always.
I think that was the only costume I brought, the DramaCon costume.
Yeah, I brought that and I had Tamaki. And the only other thing I remember from that convention, like I said, we wandered around a lot. The dealer's room was huge. We definitely
Yeah.
hung out at her booth for a while dressed up to like.
Well, and this was the Javits, and the dealer's room was huge, but because I think this was their first or second year, it was also very empty. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you go to New York Comic Con now and it's packed.
Yeah,
But I've
forget
got
it.
pictures of aisles where it's like, oh, look, there's nobody here. And they reported
Yup.
some crazy attendance. I'm like, yeah, no way did they have 10,000 people. This was like 4 tops.
Right.
Panel rooms are empty. And yeah, this was.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah.
But I remember the only other thing from that was so we wandered around the last day, and as anybody knows that listens to my podcast, for some reason, Chris Sabat, whenever I meet him, I turn into an entire mush pile, and I can't explain it. I don't know why. I'm a full mature adult, and it's like, but Chris Sabat was basically my childhood. And I remember walking through the dealer's room, and I stopped because the Funimation booth was there, and I saw Laura Bailey, and I saw Sean Schmiel, and at the end of the line was Chris Sabat, and I just walked away from like Kathy and just got in line and stood there, like staring at them, like I'm gonna get something signed. I'm gonna have to talk to him. What do I do? Like I've made a terrible mistake. Like what's going on? Why am I doing this to myself? And then like Laura Bailey, was like Laura Bailey, and like she is really that amazing of a person. And then I was standing there, and Sean left, and we had the poster, and Chris Sabat took it, and he's about to sign it, and he goes, oh, where's Sean? And Laura goes, oh, he's going to summon the dragon. And I remember Chris Sabat looks at me and goes, that means he's taking a shit. That's the code we use in the booth when you've got to take a shit. We summon the dragon. So he wrote it on my poster. Like he signed it like Goku's gone to summon the dragon, Vegeta, Chris Sabat. And then Sean comes back like 2 seconds later, and he looks at my poster, and he's just like, "No, why would you do that?" And of course, the whole time, like this is happening, like I can sit here and laugh about it and talk like so casually about it, but at the time I'm just sitting there with my mouth open, like Chris Sabat had a conversation with me. He knows I exist, and there's been so many encounters since then, Patrick. Like all embarrassing. I mean, he came to the New Hampshire convention. And people, like, they were joking that I couldn't be around him because I wouldn't be able to control myself. And I got a picture with him, and it was fine. but it wasn't fine because I was just like, can I have a picture really quick? And he was like, yeah, and I got a picture. And like, that was the most conversation I had with him the entire weekend. And then I remember I met him again at Rhode Island Comic Con at some point, and it was incredibly awkward because again I just kind of stood there and I was just like thanks and ran away. And then the most recent Rhode Island Comic Con that I went to, he was a guest at, right? I didn't even get in line to meet him because I was like, nope, we're not going to make an ass of ourselves this time. We're not, Patrick. This is not that story. But guess what? Still managed to make an ass of myself. You know why? You know why, Patrick? Because I was walking into like the hallway at Rhode Island Comic Con, as we all know, which is a huge mess. And what do? I walk into Chris Sabat. And we stare at each other. And I'm full on Percy. And I'm just like, oh my God. And he goes, oh, Critical Role. And I'm like, and I ran. It's like, why am I like this?
Someday you'll have a normal encounter with him.
I just can't. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like,
he'll be on the show, and
no, I can't do it. Well, maybe if we're on the show, it'll be fine because we're not looking at each other. It'll be fine. Yeah, Chris Sabat. If you ever want to be on my show, haha, so funny, Katie. Anyways, but yeah, that's the only other thing I remember from that convention was Chris Sabat like talking to me about pooping, and I was like, okay, well.
I remember they had the first annual American Anime Awards. Do you remember?
Yes.
It was aired on Anime Network.
Right.
And yeah, they were. I think you can watch the entire awards show on YouTube. I think somebody posted it.
Okay.
And it's not great.
Oh, I mean,
I was there in person to watch it, covering it as press, and I mean, even from the start when they did the voting, I knew that it was messed up because they had Akira under comedy. Like, what?
Uh-huh.
How is Akira a comedy? And Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, every time they listed her, even after she won an award, it was always just Mary Elizabeth. They just left her last name off. It's like, guys, you might want to get her name correct. This is how she's credited. Use that. But no.
Right. Poor Mary Elizabeth. I love that woman.
Yeah, and so the first annual American Anime Awards, and there was never a second.
The end.
It's like calling a movie part one and then never doing a part two.
Oh boy. Also, I remember Kathy was in her DramaCon costume, and that's when I met Stan Lee.
What?
Well, because they were doing that. They filmed the show like You Want to Be a Superhero or whatever.
Yeah. What was that? Yeah, it was
on whatever.
Who Wants to Be a Superhero? It was a Sci-Fi Channel show.
Yeah. And like she got in line in her costume, and she's like, "Well, I mean, I might as well, right? Like, what's going to happen? They're probably not going to get picked, but at least I get to be on the show, maybe." I'm like, "Sure." And I just remember sitting there in line waiting, and all of a sudden the door opens, and a cameraman walks out, and I'm like, "Well, that's interesting. They're probably just going to get like a line shot, no big deal, right?" And there he was. He walked out, was Stan fucking Lee. And he walked down that line of people, and he shook hands with everybody. And I shook hands with him, and he looked me in the eye and said, "Hi, I'm Stan Lee." And I was like, I know. Like, I don't care who I am, but you're like, we shook hands, and he just smiled at me, and he kept going. And I mean, honestly, the best.
So the Katy Cinematic Universe has a Stan Lee cameo.
You damn right it does. And I think, honestly, because we shook hands and had a conversation, I'm technically part of the MCU. I think it counts.
Yeah.
It's on film somewhere.
Actually, I've got friends who are part of the MCU. I should get them on this show.
Don't joke with me. Don't do this, Patrick.
The scene where Tony Stark is presenting to MIT and there's a crowd of students.
No.
They're in the crowd.
They got to be around Robert?
Yes.
You know people that breathe the same oxygen as Robert Downey Jr. and you've never told me? I thought we were friends.
One of them is also in the background of an episode of Sherlock.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And as far as we know, it's one of only 2 people to be in both Sherlock and the MCU.
What?
Do you know who the other one is?
Yeah, the other one is Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, actually, I think, no, the only one to be in Civil War and Sherlock.
Oh. I don't know who.
Martin Freeman.
What?
I mean, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch. He's in the MCU, but he wasn't in Civil War. But yeah,
that is true. He is not.
yeah, so, but yeah, they're in the audience and I can see them sitting there. So it's cool.
Robert. What a white whale. That's the white whale. I want to
You
meet
know,
that man
I
someday.
suspect he wasn't actually on stage for a lot of the shots.
Don't do that to
You know,
people's
you
dreams.
know
He
how
was
they.
there the whole time, and then afterwards they all went out to lunch together.
Oh yes, and
Don't blemish it, Patrick. Don't do it.
he bought them all cars, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, they're all friends. They are on their Christmas lists and stuff.
yeah,
I want to be on Robert Downey Jr.'s Christmas list. Anyways, we're getting off track. The point
yeah,
is, yeah, it's basically, yeah, we spent our first like official meeting together, like at a convention, dressed up in a group cosplay, and met on a train.
yeah,
Yep, it's a good story. I think so.
yeah.
Oh, so this past Anime Boston, right,
Oh yeah,
was
it was
good.
fun.
It was a good time.
Oh, it's so good to be back, and I missed everybody so much.
Yep, yep. Slightly emotional, only on my
Yeah,
part.
and
I don't think I ever got the chance to tell you because I'm pretty sure I forgot to tell Doug too. But it's like one of those things. Like Masquerade this year was so much fun and it was
oh
good, but the energy was a little bit off just because we all knew that our friend Rody couldn't be there, obviously because he had sadly passed away. So this was like a heavy masquerade for a lot of people in the sense that it's
yeah,
like, okay, we're gonna do this, but like, what's the vibe gonna be? Because now we have to present this to the crowd and we have to be like, but we have to keep going, you know, and that's the whole message we were trying to put off. And it was hard for me because I'm just trying to be like the rock of the group because the whole day everyone's been like emotional and everything else. And I just remember you and Doug all of a sudden just appeared at like the right time when I was like, I'm gonna be emotional, and then like you were there, and I was like, Patrick, and then Doug was there, and I was like, Doug's here. So I don't think I got to thank you for showing up, but thank you for showing up.
yeah. You know, it was just tough for everybody. So much
Mm,
has changed in the last 3 years since we had
mm-hmm,
the previous con. And I mean, I was telling people the last Anime Boston, my son wasn't even a year old,
mm-hmm.
and this Anime Boston, he's 4.
Yep,
I mean, that math is just weird.
yep, yep.
His
You're a
birthday
whole
was
child.
after the after 2019, but before 2022. So it's yeah,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, Anime Unscripted. I was told weeks ahead of time
Mm-hmm.
who I would have as guests, which I love to be able to plan things around who's in the show. Like
Yeah.
it gives me an idea of okay, I've got uh, 2 male, 2 female, or I'm going to plan this, and oh, I know that this person likes to do this game, so let me put that in. And I just like to have an idea who's going to be there,
Sure. Be
and
prepared.
so yeah, and so this year was no different. I got the list, and then uh, we had just finished, or no, Mick was doing. She had some game show in main events. I forget which one, but she was up on stage doing the show, and I checked the guidebook just to see, like, oh, let me just see what it lists,
Mm-hmm.
and I see it lists 3 actors. I'm like, wait, what happened to the other one? And so I messaged guests, no response, and I messaged programming. I'm like, do I have one, or is this just a error in the listing? Because nobody told me that somebody dropped out. I'm like, what? And so turns out, yes, somebody has dropped,
Ah.
and so we need to find a replacement. I'm like, oh, because this has happened before, where uh, either they haven't asked the guest, or maybe the guest gets cold feet, or I don't really know. But
Right.
I've had guests drop out before. I think the worst one year I had to have 2 fill-ins, and luckily I think Jekka was staffing that year. She's great at Anime Scripted, so I asked her to fill in, and then I grabbed somebody from security, and so they do a good job. But when I introduce everybody, uh, they're expecting voice actors, and
Right.
then somebody in a red shirt comes out on stage. They're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You can see the crowd's reactions, like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
And so um, Andrew from programming gets back to me and says, "Oh, I'm going to see if I can get Katy from Masquerade. I was like, oh my god, yes, I know Katy. Katy will be amazing. Yes, go for Katy. And so I got word back, yes, she's going to do it. I'm like, oh my god, thank you, Katy.
Well, it was just funny. Like, I mean, like I said it, like in the I think the episode I talked about it. It was really like, oh, I've got a few hours till my panel. Why am I getting a message? Who is it? What? Why am I doing improv? And like, I don't know why it's like just being tired. Like it's first day, like I've already run down because you've been up for so many hours already, and I'm just like, when do we have stand-up comedy at this convention? I'm like walking around like, what am I doing? And they're like, unscripted, and I was like, yeah, man, unscripted. Patrick? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, Pat, what's up? I can do that, yeah.
And so I knew, because you did the Masquerade, you have a great stage presence,
No,
and because you do the Masquerade, everybody knows who you are.
you hope,
They
anyways.
know Ouija.
Ouija.
And so, yeah, I think it worked out great. I mean, maybe I'm biased, but that's one of the better anime scripteds we did. It started off a little rough because I was out of practice. I was like, I had to just kind of calm down. Okay, here's how it's supposed to go.
No,
Because
I
it's been
think it was great.
years since I did it last.
I think it went great. I couldn't even tell. Like honestly, well, I also was just like, well, here's hoping I'm funny. Like,
Well, I remember towards the beginning, I was kind of stumbling over my notes, like, oh, whoops. But yeah, once I got in the rhythm and got everything sorted out while you guys were performing some games, that's okay. I know what's going next. Okay. Because contrary to the name, there's not much anime, and it's totally scripted. At least
100%.
my part. You guys you don't have a script, but
Nope.
I've got all the games. I've got what I'm supposed to say,
Mm-hmm.
and I've
And
got
your slideshow.
my slideshow. I've got who's supposed to do which thing, and sometimes I change it up during that, depending on how things are going. But
Mm-hmm.
and the order of the games is actually not planned out in advance. I generally start with the same first two because they're usually pretty solid. But
Mm-hmm.
then, the order, I'll be like, all right, let's move on to this one. Let's give somebody a break, and I'll do the game where they sit out, and then we'll move on to this one. This is always, if like there's one that doesn't land, I'll go to one that I know is going to be a hit next, and so I change the order around.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not much anime in there, and yeah, there's a script.
Well, I mean, the voice actors do anime, so that's where it comes from.
Yeah, but they see anime is scripted, and I think that's why some of them might drop out because I've had some of them before the show say, "I don't really know much anime." It's like, no, don't worry about it.
It's fine. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it. Nobody does.
you know who Batman is? Okay, you're good. I'll pick
God,
like the most obscure character I've got in some thing. Like, you know who Harry Potter is? Yeah, you're fine.
you're fine.
You haven't seen Harry Potter. You know he's a wizard, right? Yeah, good. You're good.
Good. It's fine. It's fine. He has magic.
Yeah.
What was your favorite game of this time?
My favorite is always PowerPoint Roulette.
Mm-hmm.
I just love finding the crazy slides. And in the 2 years since I did it last, or three, however long it had been, I found a great resource for pictures. It's like, oh, I can't wait to use these. And so I just got some of the craziest pictures. And for people that haven't seen it, I put together a PowerPoint presentation,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got pictures that are just really weird stuff. Like there's a car that has it's been riced out with cardboard instead of fiberglass or whatever, and there'll be people with legs for arms, or somebody with a chicken head, and so it's pictures you can't really explain, and then they have to explain it because I give them a topic that somebody did a school report on. One of the first ones we did was Brazil, and so Chris Ayres is on stage talking about, hello, I'm talking about the president of Brazil, and here he is, and there's a picture of some weird looking guy. And so they just have to go through. Everybody's got 5 slides, and they just have to somehow make it about whatever topic it is. And yeah, and so it's just a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know what's coming up on the next slide. And some people have different techniques. Like when Brian Brushwood does it, he likes to say, "My next slide will show how this relates to the topic at hand, and and how people react to it, and then it comes up with the picture. He describes it, and he doesn't even see the picture, and then it comes up. But other people like to see the picture and then try to explain that.
Right.
But yeah, this it's always a hit, and that's why I save it to last.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think my favorites were. I mean, I like the one where we made up the movie, me and Greg.
The balcony, yeah.
Yep, Masterpiece Theater.
And I usually say that till later on because I have two people describing a movie and two people have to act it out. And I try to make it so that people who might be better at storytelling will make up the movie, and people who might be able to act it out would have to do that part. So it's.
Oh, let me tell you, me and Greg Ayers killed it.
You had quite the movie going. It was
It
Godzilla,
was
right?
No, it was Shrek versus Batman.
Shrek versus Batman. That's right.
Riveting, absolutely riveting, Greg. Yeah, I know. That one, and then the one where we were doing the show, but like in different styles.
Oh, film and theater styles, yeah.
And I had to sing.
I gotta go back and look on YouTube because long ago I had somebody doing anime Unscripted, and I remember doing film and theater styles. One of the styles was Dungeons and Dragons, and I need to see how Matt Mercer did that.
What? Matt Mercer was in Anime Unscripted with you?
Yeah.
What?
And this is pre-Critical Role.
Yeah. What? I didn't know Matt Mercer did Anime Unscripted.
He was great. What? I don't remember the specifics because I've done this like 50 times. So let's see. I'm looking up when he did it. I don't remember what he said, but I'll have to look up. I'm sure somebody's posted on YouTube that performance.
I'm sad that our Anime Unscripted from this past year has not gone up on YouTube somewhere. Sad about it.
He was Anime Box in 2014. He was. Oh, and I have a picture of him. Oh. Yeah, with John Stalker, Christina V, and Patrick Seitz.
And Matt Mercer.
And Matt Mercer, yep.
That's fun. Jeez, the more you know.
And yeah, at Kineticon one year, I had the voice of Winnie the Pooh and Smokey the Bear. What's his name?
Jim Cummings.
Jim Cummings, yeah. And yeah, it was Kineticon 2012, and I forget what the game was, but the line he said, oh my God, it had me laughing. He did the Smokey the Bear voice and said, "Do I poop in the woods?" I think it was the questions only.
Oh
my God. He might not have even said poop. I don't remember at this point. He might have said the other word.
Oh, he said shit.
Yes. Oh, okay. I forgot if this was a clean podcast.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I can't. Not with all my friends. Forget it. Jess,
fuck that.
Are you kidding me? Jess is my E rating, like whether I like it or not. Like everybody else tries to be so polite. I'm like, nah, everybody just go. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Not like the kids at work listen to it. It's fine. They do. Hi, guys. So, okay, of all the Anime Unscripted you've done, like your favorite Anime Unscripted game, like favorite guest, favorite game.
Mm-hmm. The favorite game, I'm not sure which convention it was. It might have been Providence Anime Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Jekka was one of the participants.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I guess it couldn't have been because we didn't do PowerPoint Roulette until 2009. And this was a PowerPoint Roulette one. And I think she went last. And there was a picture of a cat. It was just a cat making some funny face.
Mm-hmm.
And she just couldn't stop laughing at this cat picture. And then I started zooming in and out because I had the laptop there, and I just, I had the trackpad, and I'm just using A couple fingers, zoom in, zoom out, and that just made her lose it even more. And I don't even think she got through it. And so the next time she performed, I put the same picture in, and I did it again.
You dick.
I tortured with this cat picture.
Oh my god. Well, this past time you tortured Greg Ayres with babies.
Yes, I know he has a thing about babies, and so that was planned. I think I even said at one point, Greg, since you've done this before, you should go first.
Mm-hmm.
That was because I had planned it. Like I said,
Babies.
scripted. I knew what was coming.
The face. He was just like, mm.
Yeah, I was at Bakartsukan with Greg Ayres one year,
Mm-hmm.
and there wasn't a whole lot to do at the con. It's a small con, and
Mm-hmm.
so nights are pretty dead. And he knows me, I know him, so we're hanging out. And I think we were just hanging out in the lobby, and there's one of those free newspapers. And it's October, and on the cover of the newspaper, they've got a baby that's sitting in a pumpkin, as
Okay.
if the pumpkin is a diaper. They've got
Mm,
leg holes cut out of this pumpkin, and they've just got
sure.
the baby plopped right in there.
Sure.
And so Greg, uh, I have a picture of it. I don't think I can share, but Greg wrote on the paper, "I just shit in this pumpkin."
Oh my god, of course he did.
Yeah, I probably should have pulled that picture out for his thing. Maybe
Oh
next time, next
god.
year. So everybody, there's a little preview for Anime Boston 2023. If Greg Ayres is in Anime Scripted, there'll be a picture of a baby and a pumpkin,
Oh my
and he
god,
will
please let me do it with you
lose it.
guys again.
He will remember that, I'm sure, because this was the moment we shared with this pumpkin. Oh my god!
That's so good. Oh my god. All right, so let's see. Like I said, you done it like 50 times. I mean, there's got to be more.
Yeah,
You have some more moments.
I've
What,
had
like,
like over. I've had nearly 100 guests of honor
mm-hmm.
and over 100 people. Uh, been doing more than 2 decades of anime scripted,
Oh my god.
5 time zones.
Now, do you have more episodes of Anime Unscripted or the Chibi Project?
Oh, anime scripted. Well, actually, no. Now that I think about it, so we've done anime scripted 50, more than 50 times. I think we just passed 50, and we've Chibi Project. Well, it's probably close to that. It's probably about even. But haven't done Chibi Project in 7 years now.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Chibi Project, for anybody that doesn't know,
Mm-hmm.
we destroyed toys for no good reason. It
Yep.
started with a Chibi Moon figure that my friend Liz gave me. She got a collection of the Sailor Scouts. She did not want Chibi Moon. So she said, "Here, do whatever you want. Stomp on it with a boot if you want." And she stomped on it. And so I remembered there was something called, I think it was the Baloney Project,
Mm-hmm.
whereas people just did weird things with baloney. And it was the 90s. People were doing weird stuff on the internet.
Yeah,
And so I
kids.
thought, okay, well, I'm just going to put it on the train tracks. I'll get a picture of the squished Chibi Moon and she'll be happy. Well, the train did not destroy it.
Uh,
It probably bounced off before the train got there, but it got some scrapes, but it was still intact. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do something else. And I kept doing things and doing more things. And so I built up this whole website around this. Did like 15 experiments on it. I eventually cut it in half, glued it back together. It was run over by a DeLorean.
mm-hmm.
Um, lit on
Yeah.
fire with a model rocket engine, and
Yeah,
all
she
sorts
went
of
through it.
yeah, all sorts of weird stuff. And then I moved on to other stuff because it was getting, it's small and it's not much more I could do to this thing. It's just
not,
a little
not
bit
much
of
left
plastic.
to it.
So I moved on to burning Gundam and put various toys into a blender to
Mm-hmm.
different amounts of success depending on the blender.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's an Edward Cullen doll that we drove stakes through. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff, and we shot bullets at Naruto headbands to see which ones were the most bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
the metal parts, and
Yep.
some fared better than others. The plastic ones were not great.
Nope, I wouldn't think so.
Uh, the metal ones left sharp edges behind where the bullet passed through.
Yikes.
That was actually the last experiment we did. We figured, okay, we're going out with a bang, literally.
Yep.
But yeah, so it was mostly, Liz started it, but it was mostly Jekka and I that kept it going with our crazy ideas. Dropped it from an amusement park ride before the park opened with permission of the people there. So
Yep.
yeah,
See,
so
that's something I've like an anniversary edition should come out of. Like I would watch that panel.
anniversary to
Oh
more
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. Like
See,
what would it like if you had kept going with it? Like what year would it have been? Like when did you officially start that?
well, we started Chibi Project. It was 1998.
Okay.
I think it was. I'm actually checking.
So next year would be 25
February
years.
15th, 1999.
Okay, so next year would be 24 years.
Yeah. And then, oh my God, 24 years. And then, yeah, it just kind of went off and it was just a website. And then we started doing a podcast. We were doing weekly episodes for a while. And then we just changed to, whenever episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we recapped all the old ones and then moved on to new ones. So we did 51 episodes. Well, the final episode was a two-parter because we did a hour-long panel. So we cut it up to, okay, let's do the final experiment, and then we just recap on everything we've done and talk about it and why we're ending it.
Sure. I would totally go to a 24th like anniversary of the Chibi Project.
Well, maybe 25. We'll see.
Give it one more year after that. Give you some time to plan, collect some toys.
Yeah.
No more Gundams, though. Doug would never forgive you.
Well, already did one.
Oh, poor Gundam. Oh boy, Patrick,
Yeah.
this is fun. It's always a good time.
We don't
Always love
hang out
putting you on.
enough.
I know, right? You guys live so far away.
You're the one that lives far away. We're all close together down here. What's
Yeah,
up
I
with
know.
you?
You're a little cult. You're all like a mile away from each other. Okay,
handy.
fine.
It's
I'm
handy
sorry.
so that we can say, hey, we should get together, and we never do.
Okay, I'm sorry I live 45 minutes away. Okay, my bad.
It's not too far.
It's not. I can come down and visit. I've done it before.
Yeah.
And now that we're all gross and we've all had COVID, we can do that 3-month immunity thing. We can start licking doorknobs together and everything.
Nah.
Maybe not. All right, fine. I'll lick doorknobs. I'm daring. You guys don't have to. Oh my goodness. Is there anything you'd like to promote while you're here?
Oh, go to fancons.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's my website. And if you want to see the toys get destroyed, that's at chibiproject.com. And you can watch all our old episodes.
They're good. They're funny. I enjoyed them immensely. It's funny because I actually looked one of them up today before we started this podcast, and I was like, "Oh, I should talk about that." And thank God I remembered somehow, because I would have been sad. I'd been like, "Oh, Chibi Project."
The podcast, it's also on. It's a video podcast, so you got to have a video podcast player like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts. It won't work on everything, but it's out there if you want to search on podcasts. And I suggest episode 17, which is Sailor Mars versus Fire Breathing. A special guest star Brian Brushwood. He breathes fire on Great Saiyaman. Oh wait, no, he breathes fire on Sailor Mars. Great Saiyaman's the next episode. He breathes fire on Sailor Mars and burns her. He just puts, fire comes out of his mouth. He's magic.
Magic. And as always, I am promoting that book that I wrote. And if you purchase it, $1 from each sale goes to several different charities, including Planned Parenthood, Trevor Project, and the Sandy Hook Promise. And that book is called That Could Have Gone Worse: Life Lessons from a Dinosaur Cosplayer. Available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback form. And a sequel is in the works. So, yeah, I'm not done yet. Don't shut up, Patrick. I got so many stories.
I need you to sign my book. I've got the paperback.
No, I didn't get to sign it at Boston, did I?
I didn't bring it.
No, it's okay. I guess I have to come down and visit.
Yeah, you'll have to do that.
I guess so. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.